Russell Simmons is apologizing for a Harriet Tubman comedy skit that was posted on the YouTube page that he basically controls. And it was meant to be a joke, it was meant to be funny, but the contents of the video were very offensive to many people, which is why he ultimately ended up apologizing for it. Basically featured a woman dressed as Harriet Tubman, getting a friend of hers to film her having sex with her owner. And of course she's a slave. And the reason why she did that was so she can get leverage to convince him or the slave owner to work on the Underground Railroad. Okay.
So I watched the video.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, and so Russell was actually on the Young Turks yesterday and we talked to him about it. I'm gonna get to that clip in a second. But when he had mentioned it during the interview, I thought, that seems pretty racy, and I told him that, as you're about to see, but I thought, like, it's Russell Simmons, he must have pulled it off all right. I went back then later and watched it on All Def Digital, which is still up there. I was like, ew, it's kind of uncomfortable. They're definitely having sex, and since he's the master, and I know that they're screwing him over at the end, but I was like, man, that's pretty ballsy.
It's done in the name of comedy, and you know how we are. We like to give a pass to comedians, and if it's done in comedy, but at the same time you watch it and it makes a mockery out of Harriet Tubman. And so, I don't know, you guys should watch the video and judge for yourselves. But with that said, should we go to the first video?
Yeah, so Russell Simmons had brought it up in our interview with him yesterday, so I wanted to give you that perspective. Now, this is before he apologized. It became kind of a little bit of a media storm right after the interview. So this is what he said before.
Harriet Tubman Sex Diaries are on today. Beginning today.
Damn.
Harriet
Well,
Tubman
you can
Sex
put that
Diaries.
on.
So there's a lot of comedy stuff.
I couldn't put that on.
Well, I mean, you can watch it. You know, but he makes it. She ends up. You know, she. There's another big YouTuber. Day Storm's in the closet as a slave, and he's filming. And he gets the slave owner.
Damn, that's a serious place, man.
And she tells the slave owner, "Nigga, get to digging." And so he has to dig the Underground Railroad.
The slave owner does?
Yeah, because it's a sex tape.
Okay, now at the time I hadn't watched it, and I'm thinking Russell Simmons knows what he's doing, right? So, and like I said there, I was like, I couldn't do that, but you're Russell Simmons. I guess you could do whatever you want. But JR didn't kind of turn out that way. Part of his apology was that he's, apologized to the NAACP?
Yeah, so the NAACP was highly critical of the skit, and Russell Simmons decided to apologize to them. He says, "I'm a very liberal person with thick skin. My first impression of the Harriet Tubman piece was that it was about what one of
the actors said in the video, that 162 years later, there's still tremendous injustice, and with Harriet Tubman outwitting the slave master, I thought it was politically correct."
He continues to say, "Silly me, I can now understand why so many people are upset. I have taken down the video. Lastly, I would never condone violence against women in any form, and for all of those I offended, I am sincerely sorry."
So, JR, whether you're black or not, this is still way out of bounds, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't. On top of it, it wasn't very clever, I guess. Because like I said, when he was doing it, I was like, I wonder what this is. I didn't see it as, and what he brought up with you as well in the interview was, because the rape of African slaves was systematic among slave masters, and so this is kind of harkening back to that and what she could have done and a twist on it and all that stuff. But then you're making light of a horrific, systematic rape of a people. I mean, if ever a term when too soon comes up, it's always too soon, even if you think and she's getting the upper hand. Because then there was the mammy look of Harriet Tubman. She looked like it was a mix of, oh, I'm gonna get you, master. Oh, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, it was uncomfortable. I got to be honest. So and here's the part that JR is alluding to in the interview, and even as Russell was saying this during the interview, it felt uncomfortable because it's a comedy thing. But look at the serious point he was making in the middle too. Here, watch.
You can show him maybe you can't show him the Harriet Tubman sex tape.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that was for TV, but it's for something.
It's for certainly something. Yeah, it's for TV. It's not any nudity.
So Harriet keeps her clothes on?
Well, no, but you can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the slave owner, they routinely raped the slaves, and so anyway, she filmed that, and then she makes him do shit.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like, and Russell Simmons agrees, that it might not have been the best idea.
You seem uncomfortable in that interview. I have to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, I mean, look, he's telling me that Harriet Tubman's having sex in the video with her
slave owner.
And that's an uncomfortable topic,
Definitely.
you know. But I thought, I mean, he knows what he's doing, right? So, and I hadn't seen the video at that point. But again, look, I want to give the benefit of the doubt as much as possible. Russell Simmons has been on the show 3 times. I like him, but beyond him being on the show, who cares about that? Mm-hmm. He really stuck up for the guys on Occupy. I remember when Bloomberg was making nonsense excuses about, oh no, it's a lot of money to clean up the park or whatever. Russell Simmons stepped up and said, I'll pay the money to clean up the park as long as you keep him there, right?
Yeah.
So he's a great guy in that sense, and he fights for a lot of the right battles. And then the people in the video, by the way, other than Dave Storm, it's like a who's on Pop Trigger on our network. So, I mean, I love everybody involved. And Dave Storm's great, and I want it to be funny. Just turned out, I think JR is right, they took a risk, and it didn't turn out well.